You need not search the wild jungles of the Congo to get your revenge. No, Spooky Brucey can bring the ruthless black magic of the jungle to you. It's fun for the whole family. By means of conjuration and human sacrifice, you too can eradicate any difficulty in life with the brand new Spooky Brucey head shrinking course. Watch as your worries shrink away like the carcass of your foe. That's right, Aunt Helen. Remember telling Mother the kids needed psychiatric counseling? You should have learned sooner that the children of Rot are no one to fool with. Make deteriorating human remains easier to display, in the car, on your bike, or in your prison cell. With no further ado, let's begin!
Though you mortals choose to force pleasantries and polite conversation, I know that you, in your long, futile, inconsequential existence, have considered the savage elimination of your enemies. Think of it, the gratification it would deliver you, to hold the cold, lifeless head of your adversary in your crimson hands. To stare into the vacant eyes of your opponent, their focus softens as the threat they held diminishes. Tests conducted by scientists in 2011 estimate that the human eye can see for a matter of 4 seconds after the head has been severed from its body. Meaning you'll have the satisfaction of knowing your rival felt the deadliest sting of defeat. But what will you do with this treasure of conquest, now that you've played the most dangerous game and won? Why not keep this golden medal? But what does a champion do with his trophy when it's a flesh and bone? It is true that with time the skin will fleck away like paper, and even the marrow will turn to dust. But like a houseplant with proper care, it can last for ages, and make a wonderful addition to any room in your home. Our friends in the Javaroan tribes of Peru and Ecuador have made it so that you can forever hold your foe's cranium hostage. Thankfully, you have me here to teach you the forgotten and outlawed art of head shrinking, practical knowledge any civilized folk should possess. So darken the room, my children of Rot, and we shall commence. You'll need to gather the necessary components. The Javaroan tribes would collect their heads from their jungle battlefields. But given the inconvenience this presents, any metropolitan area will do. If an enemy isn't handy, you could target a nosy neighbor or even a debt collector. That way, as an amateur should, you'll have time to perfect your technique. For time's sake, Bobo has so graciously kidnapped what you folks today call an internet troll. Thank you, Bobo. It seems this gentleman took offense to our sense of humor, learning much too late that laughter helps you live longer. Bugsy, bring me the axe. Now, with precision, the skin must be cleaned from the skull like a glove from a hand. You can do so by splitting the flesh behind the ear, or down the back of the head, towards the center. The eyes and lips should be sewn shut. A good sturdy thread can be found in a remarkable array of fun colors at your local craft store. I recommend coordinating the color with your curtains or drapes, but you can be as festive as you like. A good straight or blanket stitch can be used to seal these orifices closed. It's a shame they didn't learn how to keep their damn mouths shut earlier. Now, if a ceremonial cauldron with gathered rainwater isn't handy, a traditional soup kettle or crock pot will do. The water must be brought to a full boil, and then the face flesh submerged within. This is a step in traditional tanning processes, much like the kind used for animal pelts. This is how the leather is made for belts, jackets, or even couches. Just ask our old friend Ed Gein. who by clever means of necromancy has agreed to be on our next crafting segment, provided his mother signs his permission slip. Once the face is left to simmer for a good 3 hours, the unwanted cartilage, fat, and muscle can be cleaned away. If you have problems with flies like we do, a garbage disposal will be the perfect spot to put these tidbits. Or, if you're feeling extra crafty, save them in a Tupperware container to serve to unwanted guests. Now that your skin is prepped, this is where true skill is required. Don't be discouraged, you've made it this far, why give up now? This husk of human flesh is likely only reduced in size by a slim margin. To further shrink the head, hot stones and sand must be put inside. The heat will cause the skin to pinch and tighten. 3 out of 4 Javaroan tribe elders recommend rubbing down the face with charcoal ash. This helps to dry the surface and to seal the vengeful spirits of your murdered victims inside. Once cooled, the rocks and sand must be replaced with more hot rocks and sand. Make sure the heated contents help to shape and contour your shrunken head's facial features. Now, depending on the size you desire, the process should take roughly about a week. I've seen your social calendar. You have the time. To further purify the flesh, spin the head above an open flame. Ritualistic dances and chants may be performed, but aren't necessary, as the fire will help rid the head of any unwanted spirits that have attached themselves to the mortal remains. One of my ex-husbands took a trip to Peru in an effort to win me back. He intended to steal me a shrunken head. We would be reunited, but not as he expected. The head sent parcel post was his own. Thankfully, I have him handy to demonstrate the final product. Say hello, Thomas. Now you, my children of Rot, are certified savage headhunters. Soon your collection will be the envy of every jungle witch doctor. But what of the macabre history regarding this sideshow staple? Thankfully, we have our trusted friend, amateur makeup artist, and unlicensed mortician, Dr. Otto Seltsam, here to explain. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Seltsam. We had your radiation lamps brought in earlier.
Well, hello, Spooky. Hello, Thomas.
Why don't you tell the kids at home a little about the history of shrunken heads, Dr. Seltsam?
I will, but I thought I'd give them a chance to quit while they're ahead. Get it? The shrunken head was once a product of ritual magic. The head shrinker believed that the victim's spirit would be forced to serve them, obeying their every command like a faithful henchman. It was also used as a talisman to ward off evil spirits that dwelled within the jungle. The Javaro people believed that there were 3 distinct specimens.
Ah, yes. There's the Wakami. Those demons take the form of huge buzzards and serve as the witch doctor's familiar. The bird is sent to the intended target, and in a flash of flapping wings and slashing talons, they mark their victim for illness or insanity. There's the Arutam, the spirits of the jungle. Some were good and some were bad. The bad were responsible for marring lives with misfortune and guiding men to self-destruction. And the Moisak, these were the restless spirits of mortal man, still wandering the earth in search of vengeance.
May I continue? Eventually, the shrunken head was discovered by Western tourists. Rather than being repulsed by these oddities, they were instead amused, and the wealthy wanted their own as souvenirs. Introducing them to Victorian curiosity shops, personal curio cabinets, and eventually mainstream media. Soon an economic demand was created, meaning the Jivaro tribes would need more heads, leading to inevitable and merciless murder for profit. Tourists often paid the Jivaro tribe with rifles and firearms they brought for jungle sport, serving to further escalate the violence. Eventually, a ban was passed by the Ecuadorian and Peruvian governments to stop the bloodbath. No matter, Colombia soon cashed in on the trafficking of human flesh. Morgues were raided, and the heads of the recently deceased were skinned to satisfy wealthy Western visitors. Later, in 1945, during the Nuremberg trials, Nazis were brought to justice for their crimes. A number of medical curiosities were collected as evidence from the concentration camp in Buchenwald, Germany. Counted among them was soap rendered from human fat, a lampshade made of human flesh, and 2 shrunken heads. The 2 shrunken heads were from unidentified Jewish men who tried escaping. Despite this gruesome history, shrunken heads are still much sought after today by curiosity enthusiasts. A majority found are frauds. It is estimated that 80% of the shrunken heads on the market are gaffes created for sideshows. But the real McCoy, as they say, can still be found in museums across the U.S., including Robert Ripley's Believe It or Not museums. Oh, dear Mr. Spooky, what time is it?
Oh, I believe it's about 12:30.
Oh, my wife, Gerta, is expecting me. She is due for her nightly touch-up.
Dr. Seltsam, your wife passed away 60 years ago.
Is that any reason to be insensitive?
Insensitive, you strangled her to death.
Does that make her any less my wife? Mr. Spooky, I am surprised at you. Why, she even asked about you today.
Oh, well, I just assume that, goodbye, Dr. Seltsam. Tell your wife I said hello.
Oh, I feel well, good night, Mr. Spooky. Good night, Thomas's head.
Well, on that disturbing note, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode, My Children of Rot. As you could be our next show subject of interest, only time can tell for certain. But if I were you, I'd err on the side of caution. And as always, remember me as you scroll by. If you liked our show, then please subscribe, as we are now. So you must be. Prepare for death. And follow me.